tuned for Airgun Detectives. What?
Welcome to another episode of Airgun Detectives. This is where we take the mystery out of the airgun. Today, we're going to feature the X-Five here from Sig Sauer. And before we get started though, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down there below. If you'd like to be notified of the new videos, hit the little bell right there. We appreciate any thumbs up. We love your feedback. Love to see those. And check out my website. Looks like that little lowercase I up there in the corner. You can actually click on that anytime and take you right to the website. But let's get down to the business here. This is the Sig X-Five, Sig Sauer X-Five ASP. It's a CO2. It's a blowback pistol. It shoots a .177 caliber pellets, and it's got a magazine right here, and it's their belt type magazine. This holds 20 rounds. Let me open it up here so I can see what's going on here. So it's got your belt type magazine here, and it's pretty easy to load. You just pop your pellets in, but it'll take a full 20 rounds. And then this goes right down into the gun, obviously into the bottom of the gun. And then this is a single action only pistol. So in other words, the blowback actually functions, cocks the hammer back and puts the trigger into single action. But this trigger also, it rotates the belt, and that's how they do it. It lines up the pellet as you're shooting this. So this has a rifled barrel. It's a 5-inch barrel, rifled barrel. The gun is all metal. It's a heavy gun. This is just under 3 pounds. I think it's 2 3/4 pounds, somewhere right around that. One of the outstanding features on this gun is it has adjustable sights. You can actually adjust the sights for point of aim, which is fantastic. I wish all the airgun manufacturers would do that. But anyway, they're claiming that this will get about 430 feet per second. I'm sure that's with an alloy type pellet. We're going to test it with some lead pellets and see what some realistic velocities we get. And we'll take it through our entire gamut. This retails for about 120 bucks, but this is really a heavy gun. This weighs exactly, I'm sure, close to what the authentic real version would be. But anyway, let's go ahead and test this out. We'll move on and go through our different little gamut of tests, and then we'll come back and talk about the pros and the cons. So stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, I got our Sig Sauer X-Five here. We're going to try some RWS Super Hollow Points. They're a lead pellet, and they're a 6.9 grain. So let's see what type of velocity we get. We're going to shoot 5 shots over the Chrony. Let's see what our average is. This is not overly warm day, kind of close to 60 degrees. So I'm sure this could have probably even performed better even in warmer weather. So let's shoot the 5 shots and see what we get. All right, shot number 1. 387. Shot number 2. 384. Shot number 3. 370. Shot number 372. Not bad. Let's just do one more. 359. Not a bad average, because we're shooting lead pellets at 6.9 grain, so you can see the average there. All right, let's move on to the next segment. We're going to test out our Sig X-Five. We're a usual 30 feet, about 10 meters back. I'm going to use these wonderful shooting glasses for you so you can get a perspective of what it looks like for me shooting the gun. So let's shoot five shots or so and see how well we group from this type of distance. All right. And let's get one more in there. Yeah, I gotta be honest, this is an extremely cool day for where I'm shooting. We're in probably the mid to low 50s right now, so it has a direct effect on the CO2. So, but not a bad group. Anyway, you see what we got there. Let's move on to the next segment. Okay, we got our Sig X-Five here. Let's see how well the trigger performs. Let's do a quick test on that and get a trigger weight. Alrighty. All right, 5 pounds, 3.6 ounces. And you have to remember, this style of trigger, it actually pushes the magazine around with it. So a 5-pound trigger on this is not bad. And it has a pretty nice reset on it if you watch it. There, and it's reset right there, again. So you can't beat that. Right there, again, there. All right, let's move on to the next segment. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of offhand shooting with our Sig X-Five and see how well it does doing our little plinking. This is always the most fun part of this. We're our usual 30 feet back, about 10 meters. So let's just try our luck with this and see how well we do. Wow, that's not bad. All right, let's wrap this up, move on to the last segment. All right, let's wrap up our review here with our conclusion on our Sig Sauer, our X-Five. I would say overall this gun did pretty doggone well. You know, one thing I didn't show you guys is how to load the CO2 on this thing. And if you'll see on the back of this, there's a little handle, or I should say a little switch here, button. You just push that down, and then the CO2, let me see if I got one here. There you go. The CO2 just goes in just like that. I'm not going to actually load it in there, but it's one of the simplest loading setups. And then you just basically just close it, and it pierces it, and you're ready to go. So that's quite the setup. But anyway, let's talk about the cons first. The cons, I don't like the fact that this slide isn't opened up. This would look so much nicer, and I'm being picky here, but if this had a cutout for the breech, so your actual slide would, that would really improve it a lot. Believe it or not, I'm not a fan in these CO2 pistols of the 20-round magazine. Now, you can look at this, you could just load 15 in there, but I think that would just make 15 rounds. And the reason this is, when you're shooting CO2, once you get to between 12 and 15 shots, your CO2 cools down so much, the velocity really slows down on these guns. So to me, it's almost pointless with the extra rounds in there. So the 20 rounds is just, it's maybe a little bit excessive. That is, unless you take a couple of shots and let the thing warm up just a little bit. But that's me being picky, okay? So that's my cons. Not too bad. Let's talk about the pros here. The pros on this thing. Number one, you guys probably can guess what I'm going to say. Go ahead, guess. Yes, the sights. The fact that you have adjustable sights on this gun is tremendous. I wish more of the airgun manufacturers would do that, because then you don't have to worry so much about point of aim. You can adjust that. So that's pretty nice. The fact that it does get 60 decent shots, so you get 3 magazines out of this per CO2, that's not bad. I love the weight of this gun. This thing is just, I mean, this is a hammer. This thing feels so solid. So I really like that. It is somewhat accurate. It has a 5-inch rifled barrel. You saw, with the exception of one little flyer, the rest of our rounds were right there. They were under 1 inch at our 10 meters or 30 feet. So that wasn't bad. Again, I just showed you the CO2. That's positive. It's so easy to load CO2s into this thing. So you can't beat that. Let's talk a little bit about velocity. You saw we shot some lead pellets. Our highs was right there. We were averaging about 375 feet per second. So that's not bad. And that velocity's right there. If you put an alloy pellet in there, you probably would get, you know, your first couple shots, you probably would get well over 400 feet per second. So the velocity on it, not bad. So overall, it's a pretty solid gun. And the price, the average, retails about 120 bucks is what I've seen it out there for. But I've seen it on sale. You can get sales left and right. I try not to buy anything unless it's on sale, because there's just so many different occasions that the airgun companies will come up with sales for. So look for that. So with that, what am I going to rate this? This really saved this gun. These adjustable sights, that really pumped up my rating on this. So I'm going to have to give it 4.25 stars. This is going to get 4.25 stars. And like I said, I just love the fact that you got adjustable sights. I wish more of these guns would have that. So anyway, with that, I thank you for tuning in for another episode of Airgun Detectives. Remember, this is where we take the mystery out of the airgun. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Check out my website, and please, as always, give us a thumbs up. All right then, until next time.